Very rich people in very big houses, what do they do in them? You read the news about some celebrity selling his or her 15-bedroom mansion. And I keep thinking, what on earth are you doing in a house that big? Sleep in a different room every day? I mean, I get it. They do get some visitors sometimes, not 20-30, I hope regularly. They have domestic help who probably do not use the bedrooms. Or one of the 5 house cinemas. Or one of the 10 pools. But when you are home with your wife and 2 kids in a freaking big house like that, what do you do with all that space? Am I being small-minded here? My friend's parents have a huge mansion. Most of the rooms aren't touched till they have the larger family over at Christmas. They all live in one wing of the house. Similar to a 3-bed apartment lol. I have a lot hobbies. If I were rich, those extra bedrooms would be where all my hobbies sleep. Ex-girlfriend was rich. Like holiday abroad to their own holiday home rich. On multiple continents. My bitchy comment about what they do in their 18-bedroom house? Complain. A lot. In reality, they just pretty much have a lot of utilities: wine cellar, gym, pool, cinema, pool room, bar, dining areas, etc., but tend to use a few of the spaces day to day and the rest are for occasions. It was a very nice house, and when I stayed over, you could be in the house all day with someone and not see them. I worked for an obscenely rich man who lived in a massive house by himself. He couldn't lay flat, so he spent all his time in his living room with 3 TVs and a projector that would come down if he wanted it. He slept in a recliner and would keep the AC as cold as it would go. The power bill was $3,500 in the summer. All he did was watch Fox News and random TV shows and occasionally go on 5-7 week crack binges. If I were a celebrity that is constantly followed by paparazzi, I probably wouldn't want to go out much. So everything needs to be available at home: a home theater, a gym, a bar with a pool table, library, and everything will need to be big enough so I won't feel too confined. That's what I imagine. Imagine having enough space that you could unbox all of your hobbies and possessions and basically have them ready to go on display all the time. That's what luxury living is like. Wine stored in a cabinet? No. Put that shit on display in its own room. Movie night on your Fire Stick in your living room? No. Go to the theater room so nobody else has to watch that superhero movie you love on repeat. One of my clients is a billionaire. He is building a 30,000 square foot monstrosity. His kids are away at university. It's just him and his wife and their housekeeper. When I asked him about it, no one is looking forward to living there. But they've already committed the money and are plowing forward. Their living room looks like an atrium in a mall. Shit is so wasteful. I've worked for some wealthy people, and it's pretty easy to use up that space. That doesn't mean every room gets used every day. Some of the rooms are larger than needed, but allows space to show off things like artwork, artifacts. Some rooms are bedroom, large master bath, or even a spa, sauna, steam room, cold plunge, tub, etc. Home gym, home cinema, large kitchen, dining room to accommodate an entire dinner party, a couple of guest rooms, playroom for kids, grandkids, sitting room, library, game room, bar, home office, room for hobbies. It's about having them, not using them. From experience of people I have met and or stayed with, they generally occupy a house within the house. They use a smaller, more modest area of the house unless they have guests, where they expand into the bigger rooms. In some instances, very wealthy people will see owning expensive property as an investment or a portfolio piece. Being rich isn't just about the cash you have. It's also about how much all your crap is worth. I am not very rich, But my wife and I bought a fairly large house right before the market went insane. The plan was to start a family, have kids, etc. Unfortunately, we're going through a divorce now and I'm the only person living in the house. I use 2 rooms while the rest of the house is furnished. I never really have a reason to go anywhere else in the house. I've known a couple of families in the past who had houses bigger than they needed, and it seemed the house functioned as a way for everyone to keep their distance from each other. The spouses led separate lives and kept secrets from each other, and the children used it to hide things they were doing from the parents. All those extra rooms must be for secrets. It's a financial instrument to park your money with a decent return that has tax advantages. This general partner of my company lives in a 12-bedroom house. He's married and has 3 kids. He and his wife have 1 room. Each of his kids have their own room. The other rooms consist of an arcade room, games room, cinema room, gym room, sauna room, etc. All of the rooms actually get used, which I think is rare amongst the super rich people. It's quite a sensible setup. I had a friend that lived in a huge home with an indoor ballroom and basketball court, etc. He took me on a tour of his home and I was stunned and made a comment about how grand it was. He grabbed my arm and looked into my eyes and said, "You don't want a home like this. You can't live in but 1 room at a time. I live in the bedroom, the master bath and the kitchen. I rarely go into other rooms." My best friend lived in a huge mansion. At least 15 bedrooms, an upstairs kitchen and a downstairs kitchen that was always stocked. They had an infinity pool overlooking a lake. She went days without interacting with her family. She said the house always felt cold and lonely on reflection. Her mom died when she was 10. Her dad remarried a few years later and stepmom moved them out of the mansion to a 5-bedroom house. It was still a really nice house, but smaller. It was a hard adjustment on her and her siblings. But she also thinks it saved her relationship with her family. Stepmom was best thing that happened to them. They sit there in their awesome house with their awesome friends and just soak up each other's awesomeness. I don't know for sure, but I heard it's a thing to make money angels in different rooms as part of a rich person ritual. Heard it from a guy. When I was a kid and watched Magnum Pi, I always wondered about the villa he stayed in and no one actually lived in. Working on a few of these houses, the thing that really stands out is none of the furniture touches the walls. You've got to have a lot of space to do that. TBH, I rent a 3-bed despite living alone ATM. And a big house would largely just expand on what I do now. I have a room for sleeping, a room for my office GFS art stuff, and a room for storage. I converted the living room into a wargaming space. If I had more rooms, it'd have a Lego room, a model train room, a TTRPG room. Why no, it'd just separate my hobbies over the various rooms. Hide from themselves. Watching documentaries about wealthy sports players. They always seem to have a lot of people, parents, cousins, in-laws, etc. So I guess it's for them? There is a fantastic documentary called The Queen of Versailles which follows the trophy wife and kids of this rich dickhead through the 2008 crash. They're actually sort of sympathetic, kind-hearted people who were raised in such a poisonous atmosphere that their tastes and personalities are completely fucked. There's a bit where they've laid off all the help but still have this massive house. So it's full of dirty dishes and takeout boxes and dead pets that they've forgotten about.